joining me. It's Megan with Manifesting Me. I write, talk about, and teach manifesting. I also have a book available for purchase on Amazon.com called The Pocket Guide to Manifesting. And I do one-on-one customized manifesting sessions to help you get more of the good stuff in life and less of the bad. So I wanted to talk today about the power of sending energy to people who request it or to people who you think could use it. There's something really magical about doing that. And I experienced it myself. I've experienced it many times. But all of this was kind of brought to a head when a couple weeks ago, my brother Chris, who was 51 years old, died unexpectedly. And that was a shock that I was not expecting in my life at this point. Anybody who knew him and loved him is in the same boat. So we're all trying to adjust our lives and our expectations about what our life is going to be from this point forward, from the perspective of my brother is no longer in this world. And for the first week, I didn't quite feel like my body and my energy were together. I kind of felt like I was, maybe walking around a little bit like a zombie and just wasn't getting enough sleep. My mind was kind of constantly racing, and I was trying to keep myself busy by, helping family members and, doing what was maybe needed, and that was a great distraction. But it came to be, maybe 6 days after, and I was sitting at home by myself, and my husband Jim actually had plans to be out of town for the night. And in that silence, I realized that I was going to need some external help. I was going to need some energy to be sent my way, because I just felt like my energy resources had plummeted, and I didn't quite feel capable of raising my vibration on my own. And so I did something that I've done it many times for other people. And this was one time that I felt like I was doing it for myself, and I felt selfish doing it, but I know better, because the requests that I made of some healers that I know, some energy workers. There's some beautiful noise going by outside my home right now. The request would be well received, and service and heart-led people just love to help. And so I crafted an email, and in my very low state, I just asked that I shared very quickly what was going on and said, if you have energy to spare, please do send it my way. I could really use it. And oh, by the way, here's a list of a few other people that could use a boost as well. And I clicked send, and it maybe went out to like 9 or 10 people. I kept the list really small, and just within minutes, when I tell you I was walking around like a zombie prior to that and wasn't sure how I was even going to pull together energy to like make myself some food for dinner, that was the truth. And within a couple minutes of hitting send on the email, I could feel my energy just starting to lift. And I wasn't getting responses right away. So it wasn't like I hit send and then I got 9 or 10 responses back just like that. The responses trickled in over the next few days. Some came in, within an hour. That was, that's wonderful. Whenever they come in is always great. Everybody was receptive, but I could feel just by putting the request out into the universe, I was drawing to me what I was asking for. So I started to feel better that night, and it continued. And it was like, since then, every day is kind of built upon itself. But so I wanted to share, because I think sometimes people, two things happen. So people don't always feel that they know how to send energy to somebody in need. And I'm here to tell you, just like everything else, it's easy. You don't have to have a master's in it. You don't have to take a class. You don't have to have somebody train you. It's intention. So if somebody says, hey, could you send me some energy? All I ever do is I just tune into my heart. I bring them into my mind, and I just visualize that a whole bunch of positive, light-filled, loving energy is flowing their way. And I just see them being bathed in it. And that's it. I don't do it. It's not, I'm not a ritual person. People who are, that's fine. However we do it is okay. That's the beautiful thing about manifesting. It's like our way is always the best way for us. But I'm kind of like one of those, quick and easy. So it's like I do it, I program it, it's out there, it's done. Some people like to do it for 30 days. That's great. Some people have other ways that they go about doing it where they might meditate on the person. But if anybody asks you to send energy and you go, I don't know how, that's how. And your way of doing it is the perfect way. And I've had people that have asked me to send them energy come back and say, oh my God, like, I don't know what you did, but I felt amazing. Like some people have said they actually felt like little shock waves running through their body, good shock waves, not the kind that, you feel like you're getting struck by lightning and it's a bad thing. But kind of like that, like, oh, wow, I could feel like, I got those little tinglies all through my body, and it happened just when you said you were sending energy. I've had other people, a friend of mine texted me one day and she goes, are you thinking of me right now? Are you sending me energy? And I think I was in the grocery store. But I was actually thinking of her, and I just sent her a little blast of energy, and she goes, because I felt it. She's like, I got a zap in my heart. So anyway, this is all to say this stuff works. It works. And if somebody makes a request of you, I hope that you will, jump on in and just and be there to send some energy to someone in need. And so that's that. I wanted to cover that. I also wanted to talk about, the power of group stuff, doing things intentionally as a group. So I have the intention that I want to start a group manifesting page on my site, and I will let you guys know when I have that up. And I kind of want to do it as a monthly thing. And here's why. When people come together with similar intention, power is multiplied exponentially. It's unbelievable to me. And I'll share this story with you, and it actually ties into my brother. So Jim and I, maybe 4 years ago, had gone down to the Omega Institute, and we attended a Lee Harris workshop, and it was a weekend-long workshop. We both like Lee Harris, seemed like a great thing to do. Neither of us had been to Omega before. Side note, if you have a chance to go to Omega and you like doing spiritual workshops, Omega is like drinking in love, 24 hours a day for however long you go. And it's just a really trippy and amazing experience. So we went to this program, and one of the first things when we sat down on the opening night, Lee had talked about how we were, going to write down things that we wanted in life. And I was going to this just because I really, at the time I was really into Lee Harris. I still am. It's fantastic. But I just wanted to be there kind of in the presence of him and whoever was going to be attending this workshop, and Jim was interested, and so it was just a great thing for us to do. So I wasn't going because I wanted anything out of life, because I really was quite happy with my life. So when Lee said, okay, now write down, like 3 or 4 big things in life that you want. And I thought, like, I kind of was one of those like, oh, but I'm kind of living my dream life right now, so I don't have anything to write down. But I stretched and I came up with 2 things, and I thought, okay, well, we'll put down that old standby of, become a millionaire in a good and balanced way. P.S. I don't know if I'm going to do any editing on this video, so you might just have to suffer through some of these little glitches. And then the second thing, I was like, okay, well, I should try to come up with something else. And then it dawned on me, I was like, okay, at the time, as a little backstory, so I have 2 brothers, and I was not in communication at the time with either brother. There had been an incident, and just for, kind of energetic boundary reasons, we had just decided, like, we had just kind of separated away from each other. And that was something that my brother Chris had done a few times in his life. So he was, there were at least two times that I can recall where he just stopped talking to me. And, so this was the most recent time, and it had been about a year and possibly longer. It could have even been 2 years that this had been going on. So, with that backstory on my list, I wrote down heal the dysfunction in my family of origin. That was the second thing that I wanted to manifest to come out of that weekend in Omega. And if you had asked me of the two things, which I thought was more likely to come true, I would have said the millionaire one. So, anyway, first night of orientation is over. Jim and I go through the entire next day. And so what Lee and his team did was they took all of these intentions that people had written down for themselves and they put them in the center of a sacred circle. And, there was a lot of energy being sent to that circle. So there was like this really kind of powerful, mix of vibrations that were kind of helping to bring these desires to fruition, to help them manifest. Jim and I go through the entire next day, and it was, it's a workshop. We didn't have our cell phones on us. We were staying off site, and by the time that whole first day was done, it was like maybe 7 or 8 o'clock at night. It's been a long day. It's been a wonderful day, but we're both pretty tired. So we get back to our Airbnb where we're staying, and and reception was kind of spotty too. So it was like one of those things where we get our phones and then you're kind of like looking to see where you can get a signal. Turn my phone on, and the first message I see is from my brother Chris, and it was essentially a message that was an apology, which I don't think was anything that we had done before. I don't think I'd ever seen my brother apologize for, kind of his stances on things. He was a strong-minded individual with real strong opinions. And it was basically, hey, this separation that we've been through, it's on me. This was him talking. He said, it's on me. And, if you're interested, I would love to connect and talk and just kind of figure out where we can go from here. I was shocked. This was positive shock. And I probably showed Jim the message like, you're not going to believe this. And that's coming off of, having two things on my list for what I wanted to manifest out of that workshop that we went to. So you can bet that the very next day when we went back to the workshop, and Lee opened it up for people to share what their experience had been so far, I had my hand way up in the air. They give me the microphone, and I share that story, and I tell them, just like I told you guys, of the two things on my list, if you had asked me which was more likely to come true, I would have said becoming a millionaire in a good and balanced way. Because healing that family of origin dysfunction, I didn't think there was a shot in heck. So just to kind of go back to, amazing things happen when we can pool our energy together and our intentions. If you are ever given an opportunity to do group manifesting, I absolutely recommend that you take it, because again, beautiful, beautiful things can happen. What some would call miracles can come out of those experiences. So the last thing that I want to mention before wrapping this up, this is just where my brother's death has left me. I would say, besides sad, every cliche seemed to ring true with this one. He died too young. Any of the grievances that we have with another human being ultimately don't matter. At the end of the day, if it's the last exchange that you're ever going to have, if it's your last moment with someone, which P.S., we just never know when that last moment's going to be, because I would have thought that he would have long outlived all of us out of sheer stubbornness. Just the force of his will and his spirit. So all of those cliches, say the things that matter to the people who need to hear them and to the people who matter. And if you're currently locked in a disagreement with someone, ask yourself, if they were to die tomorrow, would the argument or whatever you're disagreeing over matter? And what I learned from my brother was it didn't. Something fascinating to me, in my eyes, happened with him over the past year was I noticed him softening. He was becoming this really enjoyable person to connect with. He smiled more. For me, my big brother was somebody that was he was represented the shadow self part of me that was all about judgment and being critical and self-critical, for sure, because again, everybody's just a reflection of us. So he was reflecting back to me my stuff around things and people not being good enough, around just all the enoughs. Am I enough? And I felt like when I was in his presence that the little girl in me was trying to gain his respect, get his attention. Hey, look at me, bro, look at me, be proud of me. And so a lot of our dynamic was around that and around me feeling that I didn't measure up. But what I noticed in him over the past year was that a lot of that was starting to fall away. And it's almost like he was kind of coming into this new space for himself, a new way of moving through the world that seemed like it was coming more from his heart. And it was just, it was easier to connect with him. It was easier to find common ground. And no regrets. And I'm also somebody who believes that when it's our time, it's our time. So, death is very much a part of life. So there's no part of me that says he shouldn't have died because, that's arguing with reality. He did. And so now it's going back and taking all the lessons. And a big part of this for me is, again, besides saying what needs to be said to the people who need to hear it, is setting aside blame. So when we blame people, we're giving our power away. And as manifestors, what's the one thing that we have going for us that we want to feel? In order to be the most powerful manifestors we have to feel like we have the power. The second that we blame somebody for something in our life, we've given away our power. We're saying, oh, no, I'm powerful over here in my life, but I'm not powerful over there. No, guess what? It's all connected. So blame has no place when we're trying to manifest our very best lives. And here's what does have a place. Forgiveness. Forgiveness opens us up to receiving things that are so far beyond our fondest dreams. And if we can forgive, we're not only forgiving, it's not about forgiving other people, because again, everybody's a reflection of us. It's about forgiving ourselves for being part of a relationship, being a co-creator in a relationship that had moments that felt maybe bad to us, not quite right. So forgiveness is just like this beautiful, not only is it a salve for our soul, but it opens up the gateways for manifesting, because suddenly we're freeing ourselves to take part in all of the beauty of the universe. I'm not sure I could do my brother justice by trying to do some sort of tribute, which is why I haven't shared it more publicly on social media or otherwise. This might have to be the tribute that I do. I think my brother would agree, and we've been talking a lot since he's crossed over, that in human form, it's so hard sometimes to be in relationship, especially with people who reflect our stuff back to us so profoundly. But as we learn to move through this world with love, and as we learn to love ourselves more, and as we learn to love the parts of us that we just some days don't like, we can start to have much more meaningful experiences with everyone and everything in this world. Our lives can become better, richer. We can start to walk around feeling whole again. There was certainly a part of me that when my brothers and I would be at odds, I felt like part of me was missing. And I also realized that when we lose people or we lose things in our lives, when we're experiencing mourning, that maybe it's not so much about mourning the loss of the person or the thing, whatever it is that feels like it's missing. Maybe it's more that we're mourning the loss of what we thought our lives would be like. And that's certainly the truth with my brother, because I felt like we had a new start not too long ago, and I was excited about what the future might bring and what it might be like to continue to connect with him as we moved through our earth journeys. So that's what I have for you, and I so appreciate you being here. I will be start doing videos a little more regularly now that I'm kind of hopefully past this little stumbling block of loss. But loss has been a beautiful thing for me, and it's opened me up to a new way of looking at life. And I hope the same for you. And as always, happy manifesting, everyone. Until next time, take care.